Hi there, my name's Daniel. I'm going to be walking you through your 2023 RPod RP153. We are just going to start off the back of the unit here. You got the main door that goes inside. I'll show you that after. You are pre-wired for an observation camera up there. If you're interested in that, you can talk to our parts department and they can get you all set up to get that. You got your spare tire, and then just located in the back bumper here. Typically, this is where you're going to find your sewer hose. We don't currently have one in the unit, but there will be one at the time of sale. We just keep it in the back bumper to keep that smell away. In this corner, as well as all four corners of the unit, you do have a stabilizer jack. We have a tool for that in the front compartment. You are just going to run that jack to the ground, give it another eighth or quarter turn just to firm it up. It's going to take any bounce or sway you see we have in the unit right now. And because it is a shorter, lighter unit, it is going to stop that unit from having the front pop up on you or walk away on you. You do right here have your two low point drains. The way those work is, if you have any water in the lines and you don't want going stale or stagnant, you crack those open. It's just going to drain everything out of the lines. And then you do have your main sewer outlet. You're taking that, giving that a twist off. These are going to be the same two ears that your sewer hose will have. They just line up with these notches here in any which order. Just turning that on there, locking it into place. And then you got your black tank and your gray tank. Your black tank's gonna be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets, so you're gonna wanna empty that first. And then you can come behind that with the gray tank, which is typically a little cleaner water filled from your sinks and showers, just to try and keep the smell out of that hose a little bit. You got your cable satellite inlet. You got your black tank flush, so let's say you're getting false monitor reading panels or an odor inside the unit. You can hook a garden hose up to here, turn it on, and it's just gonna flush out that tank, keeping it that little bit cleaner. And then you do just have your main power cord inlet. This notch here lines up with this notch on the trailer side. You line those two up, push it into place, eighth turn to lock it in, and then you got the threaded collar to really lock it down. Follow that cord back. You do have your standard 30 amp plug-in. Most campsites should have this, so you can plug right on in, but we do also include a 15 amp park adapter in case you want to run the fridge at home or your campsite's only got 15 amp service. Just keep it in mind, you won't be able to run your air conditioner on only 15 amps of service. Right here, you have your hot water tank service port. You got this little drain bolt. That's gonna drain the hot water tank. Whenever you first get to your campsite, just hit this pressure relief valve. There should be a shot of water that comes out of there. Right now, this unit is winterized, so there's no water coming out, so the tank is empty, so it wouldn't be safe to fire up because you do run the risk of burning out the tank. You got your reset button right here. I'm gonna go over a procedure for that once we get inside. And then you do just have your on-off switch for firing on electric. If you were to want to fire it on electric, you can just turn that switch on. Right next to that, you do the fresh water connection as well as your city water connection. And then just right below the trailer, you do have your fresh water drain. So you just loosen that cap off. It's going to drain your fresh water tank. Inside this compartment here, we do include your 15 amp park adapter as well as your griddle. Front of the unit, you do have your battery disconnect switch as well as your battery box where your battery's housed. And then just right underneath this cover here, you do have your main propane tank. It works just like barbecue style. Opening up turns the flow of propane onto the unit. Most of the time you can do what you need with this, just with this quick access on the cover. But to get this cover completely off, you just do have to take this wing nut off and this whole black cover will pop off, allowing you access to remove the tank to go get it filled up. You got your light switch on the front, and then you do just have up and down on the tongue jack. And then underneath this little rubber cover here is just your manual override in case the jack were to fail or you don't have power for whatever reason. You can manually run that jack up and down. Inside this front compartment, open this up. You do have this nice little table, which just locks into place on this channel. Now I will mention that this is the mount for your your griddle. It just locks into the channel as well. The barbecue would just slide onto these two stainless rods here. You'd lock it into place with these cotter pins, and then you just have a quick connect hose that would run behind the griddle. You'd click it into this quick connect just by pulling it back like an air hose, pushing that line in, locking it into place, and then opening the flow of propane. And you'd have propane at that unit But just keep it in mind, whenever you have the flow propane on, it isn't gonna allow you to use that quick connect, so you do have to turn it off, and then it'll allow you access to that. It's just an added safety feature. And then whenever you are done using, I do recommend putting that dust cap on just to keep things that much cleaner. Also in this front compartment here, I will note that you do have a garden hose attachment, so that this only provides cold water, but you just line up those notches there. These notches on this little quick access port, you'd lock it into place and you would have cold water. And then you do have your fridge service port, not much you have to worry about there. And then just keep a note of this furnace exhaust. Whenever your furnace is on, it's going to be blowing out hot air, so you're not going to want to have that blocked at all. And then you do just come back to your door where you take that assist handle, push it up, hold it 90 degrees, it locks in place. You can open up your door, then unlocking your stairs, bringing it down. Just take a note of these two little latches here. You can adjust the way your feet height for your campsite needs. Bringing those down, the first thing you are going to notice is you just have your fire extinguisher right on your right, and then once you take a step inside, all your controls just are on your left. You got your interior light switch, porch light switch, and then your awning LED strip light switch. You hit that awning extend button, the awning's going to start making its way out. You know that awning's fully extended when you see the back of the metal tube and a little flap hang down. Sometimes that flap can get stuck, so you just have to retract it and put it back out for that to come down. I'm not sure if we're gonna have enough room to put it all the way out today, but we are gonna try. Yeah, no, we don't have enough room, but I will show you that you take any arm, front or rear if it were ever to start raining, and you just pull down on it, and it's gonna change the pitch of the awning head, allowing the water to then run off. Now, if you do like that pitch better, you do the same thing with the back arm, and it's gonna allow for more shade. Just always making sure you allow those arms to go back straight before you bring in the awning. Right here, you do have your monitor panel switch. You got your battery level, which is going to go low, fair, good, and C is charging, so you'd be plugged in. And then you got your fresh, your black, and your gray, which is just empty, 1/3, 2/3, and full. And then you do have your water pump switch and your water heater switch. Turn that water heater switch on. The water heater is going to try lighting itself 3 times. If on the 3rd try it doesn't light, this DSI fault light's going to stay on, at which point you just have to turn this off, go hit that reset button I showed you earlier, and turn this back on, and it'll try relighting itself. Now that you're lighting it on gas, if you do have it on electric, you just have to turn that switch on, and it's gonna start heating that water. You do have your radio right up above. It's gonna be just like home, minus the fact that you have zone 1 and zone 2. Zone 1 is gonna be interior, zone 2 is gonna be exterior speakers. For your fridge, it is a Norcold fridge. You do have your power button right here. If you hit that, it's gonna turn itself on. You got your temperature controls on the right. In the middle, you do have mode. So right now it is currently got the plug, so we're on shore power mode. If you hit that button again, it's just going to switch over to gas. Opening it up, you don't really have any temperature controls for the fridge, and I don't believe you have any for the freezer as well. It is all just on the front here on one temperature. Inside the bathroom, you open that up. You got your sink, your shower with hot and cold water, as well as your toilet. You also have a fan overhead, and that works pretty simple. You're just turning this knob. It's gonna open it up, and then you just got your fan on, fan off switch. It goes. The first time you push that button, it's gonna be on its lowest settings, and it does have 4 settings. 4th setting being the highest setting. Whenever it does start raining or you're traveling, if you don't have a max air vent cover, which I do recommend getting from our parts department, you do just have to bring this in and lock it into place by pushing it up. And then in the bathroom, you do have a plug-in as well as a light. You will notice right on the floor here, you got this little output. And that's going to be for the furnace. It's going to be the only place the furnace blows hot air out of. Speaking of the furnace, as well as your stove, they're both fired on propane. Propane is heavier than air. This LP detector down here is going to detect once you start getting to dangerous levels. As soon as you start getting to dangerous levels, which doesn't happen often, but it does happen, you are just going to want to turn off the main supply of propane off at the front of the unit. and open up the windows just to ventilate it. To get that stove to fire, you do just have to open the glass cover, turn this over to high, and you can just hit it with a lighter. Just keep it in mind, sometimes it does take a second to clear the propane out of the lines. See what I mean by that? Clearing the air out of the lines. And there you go. Eventually it does light right on up. Just keep it in mind, this is glass, so you're going to want to be gentle with it, and you're always going to want to make sure the stove cools off before you shut it. And then you do have your overhead fan. Turning that on, you're always going to want to have this running whenever you're using the stove, just so you're evacuating the fumes out of the unit. Up against this wall here, you do just have some storage, as well as your AC. Just like this is where it puts out all its air. You do have filters in here, which you can blow out with compressed air every once in a while, just pulling these covers off. These little black inserts come out and you can blow them out with the air. And then you do have control of where the air is blown, so you can blow all the air to one side. You can have them both open and you can point where the air shoots. And then just on the wall here, you do have your solar controller. Now they call it a solar controller, but it is more just a solar monitor. The only thing you're going to be able to change is your battery type of what you're using, and then you just can switch between to see what amperage you're using, what volts you're charging at, and all that kind of thing. On the wall here, you do have your TV, which is mounted. You do have this travel latch, which you do always want to use whenever you're traveling. You do have coax plugins, so you can run the TV through the speakers. And then just on the wall here, just noticing this coax plug-in. You do have a little button beside that. That's just turning the antenna on the roof. Having that on is also going to improve radio frequency. And just always making sure you lock that travel strap back into place. All the blinds in the unit do kind of work the same way. You just kind of sit where you leave them. And then you do have this front fire exit. Just pulling that tab is going to take that screen right out of there, and you're just going to take this handle, push it, and push it out, and you can hop on out of the unit. I will note that right here, you do have your main GFI plug. If you ever have a plug that doesn't work, this would be the first place I would check. You got test on the left, reset in the middle, and this unit is also equipped with an inverter. You're just hitting that unit button, and that's going to turn it on if you were to have battery connected. The unit's currently winterized, so you don't have battery connected. But you'll be able to turn that on and access your inverter and all the inverter settings. Against this wall here, you do have this, once this match will be folded down, you can either have this screen down and have this window open, which is pretty easy to open up. You're just loosening all those tabs, and you'd be able to pop it on out, and then you do just have a knob up at the top here to be able to lock it where you, however much you want to have it open. And you can also have a blind shutter if you don't want that sun getting in, and you can lock that into place as well. To get this down into a bed, all you would do is take your table, pull the legs out from underneath it, get that table to sit on the ledges, and take your back cushions to fill in the middle, and then you can just fold over that mattress and you would have a bed inside here. One thing I'll note on your left here as well, you do have your microwave, which is a convection oven, and you do have your central vac system. The tools for the central vac system are just located in the storage right near the door. To turn that on, you just turn that switch on. It turns itself on. Now, if you're to notice that the suction's gone down, you can always check that bag just by opening this up. And you do have a bag inside there. We also do sell more bags. We can talk to our parts department about getting some of those. And then just to get that back into place, you're just pressing that back into place. And then they do have what's called a no dustpan system in here. It just works off the central vac system. You just open that up and it's gonna suck up whatever's in front of it. Just keeping in mind all that, whatever goes through here is just going into a bag. So you're not gonna wanna suck up anything too big. It is just mainly for dust or gravel. And then just some more storage inside here. Another thing I will note is if you lift this bench up, you got 4 screws holding this panel in. Underneath this panel is where you're going to get access to your hot water tank for the bypass valves for winterization if you were to be doing that yourself. That is going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.